I was actually looking forward to the creator because I love seeing movies about artificial intelligence murdering everybody. I mean, it's not like this would ever happen in real life or anything. This is why I don't get excited about movies anymore. And we are talking spoilers, by the way. The Creator is a movie that I don't want to say I had high expectations for. I just thought it looked cool. I've always been fascinated by artificial intelligence, so I knew I was going to see this movie as soon as I saw the trailer. This film had all the ingredients that I usually like to make a movie interesting. It had a good director in Gareth Edwards, who made Star Wars Rogue One. It has a black lead actor in John David Washington. It has an adorable, badass child character who we'll talk more about later. Gemma Chan fine self. I was like, yes, this is my kind of movie. This movie had so much potential to be special, but it kept stumbling over itself. Everything in this movie is very surface level. It gives you this beautiful world that you want to see, you want to know more about it, but it fails to establish its own identity. It seemed to grab a lot of influence from Star Wars, District 9, Blade Runner. This isn't a bad movie by any stretch, but I do have my fair share of problems with it. I try not to be a negative person, but I do have a lot of issues with this movie. But let's start with the good stuff. Hands down, the best part of the movie, the star of the show, is a young actress who plays the young child weapon Alfie. Doing a little research, I found out that she's only 9 years old, and this is her first major project ever. Like, if you look at her movie credits, this is it. She did such an amazing job in this movie, and I'm always fascinated by child actors because how are you that talented at that age? When I was 9 years old, I was probably trying to stick forks in electric sockets. You truly feel the emotion that she's giving off, and I'm not even an emotional guy, but I can't lie. She almost got me a few scenes. She was so adorable, and they got this little girl out here stressed out and crying. She was great. The other thing that I love about this movie is the visuals. This is one of the best looking movies I've seen in a long time, or this is at least one of the movies that really sticks out in my brain. The world in general was visually stunning, and I'm talking about the robot designs, the ship designs, the city designs. Everything in this movie was beautiful. The ship in this movie called the Nomad looked so cool with the blue lasers they used to scan the lands, the visuals of the explosions. Everything visually about this movie was great. The only point in this movie that I would complain about the visuals was at the very end when they had the tentacles near the escape pods. That looked terrible. The landscapes in this movie were beautiful, and they had this cool technology for pictures. It was like each picture was its own kind of mini movie. I thought that was really cool. We've seen it done before, but they had this technology where if somebody dies, you can take their consciousness and upload them to something else. Now, morally, I hate that. In terms of the movie, pretty cool. But they showed us that pretty early in the movie for like 30 seconds, and I feel like they only shoved it in there so they could use it again at the end of the movie and be like, hey, remember that cool thing we showed you like an hour ago? So outside of the little girl that played Alfie, the visuals were the only other thing I liked. Gemma Chan is hardly in the movie. Ken Watanabe is always great, but once again, hardly in the movie. This film is carried by a 9-year-old girl in a great special effects department. But let's talk about the bad stuff, which is always my favorite part. Look, as a black man, it pains me to say this, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's still pretty early in his career. I think John David Washington is a terrible actor. I've always hated comparing kids to their great parents because Denzel Washington is one of the greatest actors ever of all time. It's not fair to compare John to him. It's just so crazy to me how Denzel Washington has all of this charisma and his son has the acting charisma of a potato. His acting always feels so flat to me. Like, I felt nothing the entire movie. I absolutely did not believe or care about his relationship with his wife Maya. The relationship with the child Alfie felt so forced and awkward to me, and moments where he's supposed to be angry or emotional, I felt nothing. Everything just seems so forced with him. It's like you can tell he's acting, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe I'm tripping, but I wasn't feeling it. He's the reason why I don't like Tenet as much as I feel like I want to. The same thing in that movie, terrible. I don't want to bash him too much, but I just don't like John David Washington. He's still early in his career. He can still change my opinion down the road, but right now, I'm good. Another issue that I had with this movie is it's 2 hours and 15 minutes and it still felt like it needed to be longer. Like, I think this would have been amazing if this was like a limited series on Netflix or Amazon or something. It's so much interesting lore in this movie, and I feel like it would have benefited if it had even more time to flesh it all out. At one point in the movie, they say that the nuke that went off in Los Angeles wasn't because of the AI, but because of human error. That's a big deal. They just kind of mentioned it and kept it moving. It wasn't any point in this movie where I thought that the AI was an actual threat. These machines were weak as hell. It was one scene where Joshua took out like 9 of them by himself and he captured one and used it as a human shield. No body weight to him at all. 2 of the military people escaped police custody because they choked one of the robots out. And once again, like nothing. Outside of the bomb drop, in which the robots claim they didn't even do, it's not like they were out here committing terroristic attacks or something like that. Like, it's clear this movie wants you to feel bad for the robots. The story seems like it's so much that they want to tell you, but they don't have the time. Like, they show you these characters you're supposed to care about. I don't. Like, his wife Maya, don't care. His friend Drew, don't care. The 2 military people, Howell, and I think the guy's name was McBride, they're just generic shoot 'em up, bag 'em and tag 'em characters. Like, I know what they were trying to do with Howell's death, but it was so stupid. Nothing came from it. Like, this could have been a moment, and I doubt it, but maybe she changes her mind. Like, she wants to kill the kid. The kid clearly tries to save her when she has a grenade stuck to her back. She notices it. She tells her troops to stop, but she just dies. And we just move on. It's a lot of small things in this movie that was stupid to me. It's some moments in this movie where it feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Like, on one hand, it wants to be this serious action movie. Another hand, it wants to be this romantic drama. And then we get this dog who picks up a grenade and blows up a bunch of police officers. In one scene later in the movie, we see this robot plant a mine on a tank and it dies before it's able to detonate the bomb. But this fucking monkey comes out of nowhere, grabs the detonator, and blows up the tank. And then they introduce these suicide bomb robots and they show them running across this bridge so they can blow up. And where the hell did Alfie come from? Clearly the robots behind her didn't see her walk by. I doubt she's strong enough to climb the ropes to get up on top of the bridge. Apparently she just teleports. Also, the robots behind her in the scene where Alfie gets shot has some of the worst aim I've seen since Stormtroopers. This man McBride just runs across the bridge, runs right up to Alfie, shoots her in the open, standing behind no type of cover. The robots behind her see that and then they start shooting at him. It's like 10 of them. And nobody hits him. And then when they get to Nomad at the end of the movie, this place has no security. You have this giant ship where they say if this is destroyed, the war is over, the robots won. At the most, they had 6 security guards on board, and Joshua kills all of them in a span of 30 seconds once he opens the airlock. To their defense, because I did forget, but they did do one thing at the end of the movie that I did love. It sounds messed up, but I was glad they killed Joshua's character. It sounds messed up, but I love when a movie makes a bold decision and kill the main character. As of this recording, the creator is projected to make about 15 to 16 million in his first week. I'll update the numbers in editing if anything changes. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a critic score of 67% and a fan rating of 74%. I'm leaning with the critics on this one. I'm gonna give this a 6. It's an above average movie. The beautiful visuals and great acting from Alfie can only take this movie so far to me. I just didn't connect with a bunch of characters and the story falls flat. They had a lot of things that could have been really good, but they didn't execute them well. We've seen better examples of Broken Man Protects a Child in other projects, Logan, Last of Us, even his dad and Man on Fire. That movie is so good. It's a lot of lore in this movie that I'm actually interested in, and I wish they would have took the time to explore them more. Like I said, if this was an Amazon or a Netflix series, this could have been great. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new here. We talk about a bunch of different things on this channel. What are your thoughts on this movie? Am I completely wrong? Am I missing something? Do you like John David Washington? Let me know in the comment section below. Love you guys. Tell someone you love them. Till next time, see you in the next life.